Greetings again from the two of us. Russ and Kara here. Me, I am a twin soul of my higher dimensional member of the Ashtar Command named Kara. She is an ambassador to Sirius. For May, we bring you an editorial that we call The Magic Between the Covers. It's the difference we saw between books and movies. Now, when it comes to experience of story, books and movies give you two different ways of seeing a story in your mind or having it presented to you. We present a couple examples where movies made a cultural difference without books to precede them. In other cases, it's the other way around. Finally, we'll look at where AI will take the medium into the future. For a full transcript of this editorial, please go to our main homepage at HadesBasedNews.com. We invite you to subscribe to be kept informed of future postings on our YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. And now we present The Magic Between the Covers. The editorial this month was to be a debate between Kara and myself about the effects on the consciousness between reading and visual media. She ended up bringing me over to her side, so we wanted to put the conversation out here to the group. To start the conversation, we'll begin with a boy wizard with a tragic backstory. For those who have read the books and watched the movies, the difference becomes dramatic. In both cases, you step into the shoes of Harry Potter, but the scene around him as you read each page is formed in the imagination of what the words describe. In the movies, the scenes are laid out and becomes cliff notes of the fuller and richer experience build up in the imagination when reading through the series. Inner thoughts round out the characters' personalities, and character descriptions paint a picture of the people involved. Visual media almost force feeds the story, but has advantages over books in several ways. Days of reading are condensed into a couple hours of watching. The story becomes alive from a visual perspective instead of one imagined. When reading the books through after watching the movies, there are now visual images that replace those built up previously. Finally, movies can sometimes spread a message that affects the collective consciousness of the world. We have two perfect examples. When Star Wars came out in 1978, it was a life-changing experience for those seeing it for the first time on the big screen. This first example opened up a star field that suddenly overwhelms the senses with two ships doing battle is something hard to forget. Then came the Force and the story of the Jedi who kept the peace in the galaxy. By the time you're stepping into the cockpit with Luke Skywalker, you can relate to someone who has found an inner power that should be possible now. The Star Wars movies may provide images that trigger memories of lives lived elsewhere than on Earth, of lives lived where that inner power is harnessed to defy physics. No books preceded the movies in 1978, and no imagination was needed when reading the books later in life. The characters came fully formed. What ended up changing was a new vocabulary that included words like moisture farms and stormtroopers. Once there was a place on Earth where psychic powers were used on a daily basis. The Star Wars series might bring back memories of a life led in Atlantis when trips to the home planet of Sirius were still taking place. The end result was that people began to believe they were special in ways that they had not considered before. The second example got people to look at nature in completely new ways. It was 2009, and a new movie had come out from James Cameron with a huge budget and a lot of buzz. Again, without a book or a series to precede it, Avatar was a visual feast that needed to be seen to be appreciated. Then there was the message behind the movie about living with the planet instead of exploiting its resources. 1 minute, you're rooting for the company, and then the Na'vi are the heroes of the story. Then there is the Tree of Souls, where the Na'vi have a neural connection to their mother goddess of the planet, and thus the creatures on it which come to save the day. The analogies are many, but the main one is that when a world is taken out of balance, the world has ways to bring things back into balance regardless of the humans on its surface. In both Star Wars and Avatar, those books were mentally written as every second of the movies played out. Later, the books were then mentally edited in real time during reruns as new details that were missed the first time fill out the story. As the sequels and prequels were released in the case of Star Wars, the stories grew and became mental libraries that included facts and trivia learned after the releases. What does the future hold going forward now that artificial intelligence has changed the landscape? A new medium built on AI has changed the landscape and is fast replacing both books and movies as a go-to form of entertainment, with the result being that what appears real has to be constantly questioned. It's an exciting future and one that inspires the imagination to go with the new tools to bring those thoughts into being. This follows the same trend as set with Star Wars and Avatar in that the experience supersedes the needs for books ahead of time. What is created is just there to be experienced as if in a museum of moving images and stories. The debate centers on whether what is created will have the same consciousness-changing effects as the two examples above. Short of that, books still win out over movies and AI in spurring the imagination and sparking exploration. With a push away from written media, the challenge is in maintaining the desire to continue reading and researching ways of improving the self. Be it fantasy or philosophy, reading brings with it keys to exploring the full potential of what is possible with an expanded consciousness. We still hold out hope for AI to assist in that exploration. In love, light, and wisdom as one, Rasankara.